Welcome to One Tired Teacher, episode 114, Running a School-Wide Makerspace STEM Lab. So today I am talking to Gretchen Campbell, a educator from Tennessee who is talking all about running her school-wide STEM lab. And we talk about makerspace and tinkering, and I love talking to fellow educators and people that are passionate about creating this space for kids. Speaking of that, I know that if you are passionate about creating space for kids and getting kids excited about learning, I have a free masterclass coming up. I have two sessions today. By the time you hear this, you might have missed the first one, but I have a second one this afternoon, and then I have several more across the week. So it's every classroom needs a makerspace. The 5 fundamentals to getting yours up and running. So I'd love to have you join me. You choose a time. You can go to TrinaDeberryTeachingAndLearning.com, and in the menu, free Makerspace Masterclass. Just click on that, choose your time to attend, join my private Facebook group because that's where the training will take place, and show up live. If you show up live, I'm going to give you a gift. You got to show up. You got to stay the whole time. I'm going to give you a gift of my Piggy and Gerald Makerspace task cards. They're super fun for little ones, but also I've done them with 5th graders and they had a blast and they were very creative. So I think you might even enjoy those if you are teaching older grades. So I'd love for you to come to Every Classroom Needs a Makerspace. You can find it at TrinaDeberryTeachingAndLearning.com, free Makerspace Masterclass. Hope to see you there, and I hope you stick around.
Welcome to One Tired Teacher. And even though she may need a nap, this teacher is ready to wake up and speak her truth about the trials and treasures of teaching. Here she is, wide awake. Wait, she's not asleep right now, is she? She is awake, right? Okay. From Trina Deberry Teaching and Learning, your host, Trina Deberry.
Hey, so as I said in the intro, I'm super excited to talk to Gretchen and hear all about running a school-wide, STEM lab, makerspace area for kids to think and learn. And let's get on with the show. So I'm so excited to have Gretchen Campbell here today. She is a second career educator in Tennessee who is currently running her school's STEAM Lab. She played a crucial role in setting this lab up, and now she has applied for, they actually applied for a really big grant of like $10,000 for STEM equipment, and they got it. So congratulations, Gretchen, and welcome.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
It's good to have you. It's really exciting. I love talking about Makerspace. I'm in love with Makerspace. So I want you to tell a little bit about yourself, first of all.
Okay, well, I started as an informal educator. So I worked in a children's museum for 12 years and then moved into a community outreach position with the school district. When that position ended, I was able to go into the school as an EA, but with my informal education background, it's very hands-on and very much geared toward the makerspace
that's cool.
concept. And I actually happened to just one day I took this class online, the Coursera class through the Exploratorium.
Oh,
and it was all about tinkering. And that is really, really, really when I fell in love with it, because I'd never really gotten into the electronic part of the making. And this made it so easy. And I was like, well, I could teach this. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I fell in love with it and was able to, actually, they have a couple of courses online there, and I took them both and really enjoyed it. And so that's kind of what sparked my interest with it.
Yeah, that's exciting. No, I signed up for like a sewing, some kind of sewing thing through them. It
Uh-huh.
was like this different like arts and craft kind of thing because I just wanted to see, like I hadn't really thought about that in a maker space, like having those kind of components. And so I wanted to see for myself. And then I can't remember what happened and I missed it. So I never even got to do it. But I think the tinkering idea like that's initially what kind of sparked me too. And really a lot of feeling like I wanted kids to be able to create and imagine and explore and work collaboratively and all those elements that was really what made me fall in love with Makerspace. And so I'm excited to hear that schools are actually like, they have labs and things like that. And even if it's not specifically called a makerspace, but like I mean, like tell us a little bit about like what is a STEAM lab? Like what do you do in there?
Well, of course, the STEAM part of it is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And what is really interesting about this is about 2 years ago, our district kind of pushed out STEAM as an educational pedagogy type thing. And so it was very much integrated into all. The idea is that you integrate these engineering and design projects into ELA and math, and they all kind of intertwine together to make a really organic way to learn.
Experience. Hmm.
And it really helps a lot, honestly. And I've kind of like been waiting for this moment, kind of. And so
Yes.
I went to the principal, and at that point I was in a special ed classroom. But I went to the principal and I said, I think I could really. We actually had a, a lab that was empty that wasn't being used for a classroom. And so I went to the principal and I asked her, and I was like, hey, we actually have some space in this place, and could we do this, and could we start a lab where we are able to do these projects? And
Mhm.
she thought about it for a while, and she was like, yeah, let's do it. So I
That's
just
exciting.
asked. All I did was ask.
No,
So
and I think that's what it takes a lot of times to get these things up and running. It simply takes a big ask.
yeah.
And I think we can do so much more than we think we can in this space. It seems overwhelming sometimes. I'm actually creating a course right now called Mastering Makerspace from zero to amazing. So I'm pretty excited about it. And one of the things that I talk about in the course is how you can get this funded, because a lot of times teachers think that it's how am I going to get all these materials? And they get overwhelmed by the materials. And I'm like, you don't have to be overwhelmed. First of all, we have so much more than we think we do that we can use. And even like recycling and trash and things like that. I mean, did a recycling unit with my kids where they created these trash robots literally out of trash. And it was so fun, and they were so creative, and the things that they came up with, the problems that they were having these robots solve it was very creative. It was really, really fun. So what do you say to like what you did? All you did is simply ask. And so what's the next thing that happened in this situation for you?
Well, we sat down, our academic coach sat down with us, and we talked about how we can integrate this into the classroom. And basically what we did was we started with kind of like special areas, but it wasn't.
Mhm.
And we assigned everybody a time, and they'd come in, and we talked about the focus, the EDP for the engineering design project for the
Mhm.
quarter. And that's kind of what we were gearing toward.
Mhm.
So our STEAM lab is very it's truly a little bit of everything. So we
Mhm.
have you know we really started with nothing, except that we gathered up all the science materials from classrooms that teachers
Uh-huh.
wanted to donate, and that's where we started.
That's a good idea. That's a really good
That
idea.
was the first thing we did, and then we started asking parents for stuff.
Yeah.
And y'all, I can't even tell you how much I was very overwhelmed with recyclables for a long time. I step away from calling it garbage, but
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is way too much. But once you figure that out,
Yes.
we were inundated with that, but I used it right away,
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
exciting.
it worked. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is we have a foundation with our district
Mhm.
that gives grants every year. And so we started
Wow.
with that because we had zero technology in here. So
Mhm.
I asked for a few computers, not a bunch, but enough that at that time we were working in groups of 4,
Yes.
and I had 6 tables all around. And so I was like, well, let's just say we'll have one
Per
computer per
group.
table in
Mhm.
the room, and we could bring in classroom if we needed to. So we started with that, and then I asked for some makeys because that was a
Cool.
mini grant,
Mhm.
and that was through the Chamber of Commerce in our area. So we got a $500 grant to get makeys, another grant to get some rigamajigs, which are really cool little wooden pieces that have screws and nuts and bolts.
That's cool. I haven't heard of
Cool.
those. That's neat. Rigamajigs. I like the name.
They come with really cool shapes and stuff too. So we got a set of those, and then we just kind of, as time went on, parents would make a donation, or they would do things like that. So that's kind of how we started.
Yeah.
And yeah, we limped along for a little bit, but for the most part, we got things donated, and it worked.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's the key, what you just said. Like, it's okay to limp along. You just have to start. Like, starting is the thing that makes the difference. Like, it's just do one little thing if you have to, and just start somewhere. I think, and even with the recyclables. I mean, I know in my own house, I collect so many toilet paper rolls and paper towels, and I'm like, we go through so much toilet paper at my house. I feel like I could stock the school. Now I can't really, but with donations, all those kinds of things, they add up, and it makes it, that so possible for you to be able to do things like that.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. So you did eventually integrate some technology, but you didn't start off. And I think that's where that's the thing that I love about Makerspace as opposed to STEM or STEAM is
Right.
it does you are not, you don't have to have that. Like, if you don't have the technology, you don't have the robots and all those things, you don't have all that stuff, that's okay. It's, you're still able to use things to create and build, and it doesn't have to be like this really intense process.
Right. And that actually gets them, there's several things that we think about when we're thinking about STEAM.
Mhm.
And one is, definitely the critical thinking, which you don't have to do with technology. You
Mhm.
know, just getting them into a little STEM challenge, and, building a ladder for the classroom elf to get down off the shelf, that kind of thing is
Yeah.
equally as important as the technology aspect of it.
I think so too. And I think it's so surprising to me when kids, they don't know what to do at sometimes. Like, they've been so structured that we haven't given them these opportunities to really think outside of the box and to think about things in a different way and not solve the problem for them and not have the right answer. Like, there is no right answer.
Right.
It's open-ended. I did this, I had to test some fifth graders in my media center because I'm a media specialist. I had to test some fifth graders. Now, like, I left the classroom partly because of testing, and
Hmm.
the whole everyone must do exactly the same thing. I couldn't handle that. I was very disappointed in the system, and I haven't been in the classroom in probably I think it's been about 6 years. I've done some different things like student support specialist and media specialist, but anyway, so I stay clear of testing if I can. Well, I couldn't. I had to test this group of ELL fifth graders. So I had them, they came, we tested every single day. It was 4 days of boring testing. Well, one of the days the kids couldn't go back to their classroom because they started the test like 2 hours later than the kids I had. And I'm like, what do you want them to do? So that's another amount of time that they're missing learning. So they actually miss out on learning because we started at a different time than the rest of the fifth grade. That anyway, it didn't make sense. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with them? So I ended up reading them. I was like, hey, I really want you to help me with this. I had this idea for something that I've made for teachers, and I really want to see what it's like for students to do this. And because it's very easy for me to make things for second graders. I spent 17 years in a second grade classroom, a little bit of that in a first grade classroom, but I know how a 7-year-old thinks. So I'm like, it's easy for me to think of that. But I'm like, I really want to see what it looks like with these kids. So I read them this this Peggy and Gerald story, and I'm like, I know these stories are very young, but I need you're going to create something from this. And I gave them, constraints, and I gave them stipulations I wanted them to do, and I just let them have free. Like I put like different materials on different tables. And I was like, all right, we're going to create a solution to this problem that Piggy has. And they're like, okay. And at first they're like, I don't know what to do. Like they just kind of sat there, like they had no idea what to do. And it was so interesting for me to watch this group of kids. And I'm like, and so then they started trying things. And then like one of the things they tried like failed. And I said that I'm like, what did you learn from this failure? And they're like, failure? Like it was the worst word in the world. And I'm like, this is another thing, like this whole social and emotional element. It's so huge. And I'm like, yes, I go, that's how you learn. I'm like, failure is like, that's a great thing. It's success turned inside out. And they're like, oh. And so then they like started revising. And so it was like, it became, and I'm like, we had so much fun. And I took all these pictures of them and I, made videos, and I'm like, they were just fun. It was just so fun. And they were thinking and they were so engaged. And this group was so like unhappy when they first came to take this test. And then they left and they're like, bye, Miss Terry. And, off they went. And it was really fun. It was so fun.
That is my favorite thing about STEAM too, is, I'm kind of like the rock star. Or,
yes.
They get to go to grandma's house kind of thing, where this is a fun place to be. We have rules and things, but, they get to create and do something on their own. And when that light bulb comes on and they realize, oh, I had a problem and I solved it, that is just the best. I just get chill bumps talking about it.
Yes, I know.
It's so important because they don't, they're like, well, I'm stuck. And I've had kids that come in and they're like, well, I don't know what else to do. Yeah. I've tried everything. I'm like, it doesn't work. So you haven't tried everything.
Yeah.
And, just shake a wire or two, or, move something, and they're just sitting there looking at it. But then you get the other side of it when they go, oh, I did it, and they have this accomplishment. Yeah. And they can take you from the beginning to the end process and tell you exactly why and what they did. And that's the best. I just love to hear them talk about their project.
I think I agree. I love that part. And I think productive failure is important. I think we all need to figure out how to, handle that. What do we do when we don't know what to do next? Like we can't, if we just sit there, then nothing's going to change. So we have to do something. Like we have to figure out what to do. So I love that too. And I think that resilience and that grit and that determination, I feel like we're not teaching that. We're not really, so I feel like in this situation, we are teaching it in this situation. Yeah. So I love that. How fun. What a fun job that you have. You must really enjoy that.
Oh, definitely. And that's the part that, that does make me come back and go, okay, I get to do this again, and this is going to be okay. And it's fun. It's very hectic during the time. And now with COVID, it's even worse because worse by you have to clean everything, and everybody has individual things. And so you have to have 25 trays of blah, blah, blah. And, we have
that makes it harder. What are some things that you've done to like get around that? Like, what are some ideas to deal with like social distancing or single supplies or whatever?
Well, and that is a big thing. And of course, with our grant money, we were able to do some things that helped that. Mm-hmm. So I ordered, there's like these stacks of restaurant trays that are like a dozen. They're kind of expensive. They're like $25 for a dozen, but I got several sets of those so I could have a whole entire grade level of materials, and I can pass them out. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it's things like toilet paper tubes and cardboard and things like that, which we have enough of. Mm-hmm. And again, with the grant money, we were able to buy a big old thing of Kiva blocks and a bunch of Legos and things like that. So I have enough for a whole grade level in a day. Then we quarantine them. We put
Yes.
everything over, and they haven't
Yes.
touched them for 2 days or 3 days, and then we can use them again. So that's kind of how we've gotten around some of that. Is basically just individual things that we don't reuse. I'm fortunate enough too that our tables are those big old-fashioned science lab tables,
Yes.
and so they're 5 feet long. And so I put one kid on one side and one on the other. We still have to have masks on, but there is a level of, they have plenty of space to do their one project. I've got 12 tables with 2 kids at each table. And so, that has been okay. And this room, fortunately, this room is twice as big as most classrooms. And so for me,
it works.
A ridiculous amount of space. Like it's the perfect storm.
Yeah.
So it's a good setup.
That's nice. And I know that like we have an engineering class at my school, because we're a STEAM school, my school is, and the engineering class, they have like the plexiglass in the middle, so they can still put 4 people at a table. Everyone is like in a little cubicle basically, and it's still big tables like that, the lab tables, so they are farther apart from each other, but they have that plexiglass in the center, like doing like that cross. I guess no one can see that except for you. That cross thing where it's like a T, almost like a T. So it has, if that's right, maybe an X. I guess it's like an X. But it seems to work. It seems to help. We haven't had like cases of a breakout from the engineering room, so that's good. That's good news.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely makes it more difficult, but I think that there are things that we can do. I think that there are, I hate to give up stuff like that, especially because I just think we have to move it forward in that direction.
And that's the big thing is, well, we can't do that, we can't do that, but what can we do? And how can we? And that's part of, I told our principal at the beginning of the year, I'm like, this is just a big, gigantic engineering design project.
Absolutely.
This whole COVID thing is making us think outside the box, teaching us some new things. And, I think we are all going to come out of this better people, even though it's frustrating and exhausting. I think, eventually we're going to start feeling like, wow, we did it, and there's a huge sense of accomplishment with that.
I know. I think you're absolutely right. Because everything that we were talking about earlier about grit and determination and all, that's what we're doing. That's literally what we're doing. We are modeling that for our children because we are making things work in a time that's really difficult. So I think that makes total sense. So don't you have a Facebook page? Like, isn't there something that you have?
Yeah. So in the midst of the pandemic this summer, when typically I'm like doing summer camps and things like that usually, and we didn't have as many of those. I've been thinking about trying to figure out, that whole museum aspect that's kind of in my genes. And so I thought about trying to kind of branch out on my own and do some programs on my own. Yeah. And so I did start up a Facebook page called STEAM on Wheels.
STEAM on Wheels. That sounds adorable.
I don't know if I'm going to keep that or not, but right now.
No, I think that's so cute. I think you should totally keep that. And I want you to send me the link so I can share it in the show notes.
Sure. And so anyway, the big thing is really getting the word out about STEAM and STEM programs, but then I'm able to go out and do things locally and, and I guess I could even do a Zoom here and there, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
As a consultant, as an education consultant. And so, with that, my real dream would be to get some kind of like little minibus or camper. I think a camper would be fun. But, and then set up a makerspace, and you could just drive up to a community fair or something and, pop out some furniture and have a little makerspace right there while kids are doing something or parents are.
That's a fantastic idea. And I think it would be, how they've done like those book buses they have like a, the
Yeah.
buses that drive around and they're like a library on wheels, basically. This
Uh-huh.
could be a makerspace or a STEM lab on wheels. And even if it was like a redesigned bus, like I'm really thinking big now for you. So it's like a total makeover of the bus. And inside they could have some flexible seating and whatever, like they
Right.
could have like the sides of it could be a wall and then it have like a desk and then they can build stuff on that. I think that would be so fun. I think that's a
I think
great
so too.
idea.
Yeah.
I love
So
that.
that's the dream eventually. I have, I mean, this is like really on the ground floor. So
Mhm.
it's really just an idea and we're just trying to figure out where to go with it from there. But that would ideally be a, a fun retirement thing, I think, really, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's not that far away. So
No. Yeah, I think that's exciting. Or even going to like homeschool, like cohorts kind of
mhm.
thing. Like, like being one of the days where you're, the steam on, what is it? What was it on wheels?
Steam on wheels.
Steam on wheels. Yeah. Steam or STEM.
Steam. Why I do steam. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I like the A part. So steam
yeah.
on wheels. Yeah. I think that's great. I'm excited to see this unfold.
Well, being able to talk about it makes it more real too.
Mhm.
So that's kind of been the other thing is I'm working on a logo and some things. I was really trying to figure out if steam rolling might be fun, but we'll see.
Oh, that's cute too. Oh, that's tough. I like that too. Well, we'll just have to be on the lookout for it. So,
Yeah,
you'll have to make sure that you keep in touch so I can make sure I share it with my listeners
sure
and in
thing.
my makerspace group. Are you in that on Facebook?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
That's where
Mm.
I love just everybody's ideas and questions, and it's just a great place for educators to bounce ideas off each other.
Yeah, I like that part of it a lot. And the thing that it's such a different group of people. Like we've got such a variety of experiences and some people in middle school, there's people in high school, and I'm
Mhm.
like, what? I'm like elementary. So I'm always thinking elementary, but I'll talk to people and they're like, no, I get such good ideas from just some of the things that other people are talking about. And I'm like, okay, that's good. And I think what we all have in common is that we feel like there are systems in place that are not working very well for our
Yeah.
students and that we want something better, something different for them. And that's where I'm like, we have this common like bond of that. And I think that's why I created that group in the first place. So I'm glad that we have that at least.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure I got that idea for the elf from there, the STEM.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
well, my elf is called STEMmy because I
Oh, that's
wasn't sure that STEAMY would be really appropriate for elementary school. But so STEMmy comes in and he does some things throughout the couple weeks before Christmas. And they actually built, I don't know if you can see this or not, the first graders built a hammock for him so he could
oh cute.
instead of getting into things. And so that's what that is back there with some strawberries that we got.
That's adorable. So Gretchen has the kids built a hammock in the background for the elf, and it's like, hey, it's like away from the wall so that it can at least swing in the hammock and everything.
Yeah, this was a zip line. We had made a zip line, and I had one of the things we bought was green screen technology, which I'm
That's
still
cool.
learning about,
Mhm.
which is
The
there's big
green screen. Yeah, I figured you were doing something with green screen.
but and I did morning announcements and I was at the North Pole all week. So
Oh, that's cool. That's
anyway,
cool.
yeah, so that's what we did here. But they had a great time, and every now and again to be able to play,
Mhm.
as a first grader,
Yes.
they don't get that very often, and
No.
so we
No.
make some time to play, a lot of work, but we do a lot of play too, and that's
Well, I
important.
think play is so valuable, and we've lost sight of that. I feel like, especially in our school systems right now, at least in mine, and I am in Florida, and I feel like these kids, like that's how they work out their problems. That's how they figure things out in life. They get to try on different roles and different perspectives when they are able to play. And I think, and that's one of the reasons I actually created makerspace moments in literature because I wanted, okay, I'll give you standards. Here are some standards that if admin needs standards, here's standards that they're, and it's even in literature, it's even in actual ELA. And then on top, then there's an excuse, a little bit of an excuse for them to play. Like I
Yeah.
just, I think it's sad that we need excuses to play, but I also, if they need excuses, then I'm give them excuses. But I think it's just, it's so important. It's such an important part of childhood. It's an important part for all of us. Like we all need to be able to play. And I don't
Right.
mean play with blocks. You and I are sitting down playing with blocks, but even playing as far as, dancing or running or being whatever, like just enjoying life.
Yep. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely.
Anyway, well, I really appreciate you coming on the show, Gretchen. Thank you so much. And I will share your link, whatever name you decide you want it to be, and get it out there because that sounds like an exciting endeavor.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I'm always happy to talk about makerspaces anytime.
All right, that's great. I'll take you up on that. So I just think it's so fun to talk about this with, with someone else that feels passionate about it and is excited. It really does just take a little bit for us to really get those kids and hook them and keep them in wanting them to want to be there. I think that is really the biggest key. That's the thing that's so important to me. All right. I hope that you will join me for Every Classroom Needs a Makerspace, the 5 fundamentals to getting one up and running. Maybe you're feeling excited and come take a listen to a little bit more. And I would love to have you. So make sure you go to TrinaDeberryTeachingandLearning.com, free Makerspace Masterclass, and join the Facebook group. Once you'll pick a date. That's your first step, is to choose a date, and then you will join the Facebook group and then show up live in order to get the free Piggy and Gerald Makerspace task cards. I think it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait to see you inside. This one tired teacher is feeling excited, and I can't wait to see you on the other side. Until next time, sweet dreams and sleep tight.